Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Jones here. We're going to do another worksheet from the ELA kindergarten packet. So make sure you're in this packet. It says K31. And this is the packet for May and June. So it's just a few pages in. It's right after the matching worksheet. And right here it says day 1. So go ahead and find that. If you need a little extra time, you can pause the video and then play it once you find what we're going to work on. So this, boys and girls, the title of this story is, ooh, that's a sight word, we should know it, the bag. So remember, we should know this sight word, the bag, is what our story is about. And we're concentrating on this story. We're going to think about all of this, the words that say ah. So we're going to concentrate on this sound right here in bag. So b, a, g, ah. So we're going to hear this sound in a lot of words that we read. So I'm going to read it slowly for you to listen, okay? And you can follow along on your worksheet too. Dan sat on the mat by a bag. The bag had a box. The box had a tag. He sees Dan on the tag. He taps the box. He sets the box on the mat. Dad, can I see in it? His dad nods. Now, boys and girls, the word nods means when you shake your head up and down when you're saying yes to something. So that I read that with you, so you can pause the video right now and try reading it on your own, okay? And think about all of these sounds, these A sounds here. So we have d, an, at, the at, mat, by the bag, okay? So the vowel that we're really concentrating on here is that A sound. All right, so go ahead and try reading it on your own, and then you can pause it, read it on your own, and then when you're ready to answer these questions, you can press play and we'll answer them together. So number 1 here says, who is the box for? So who is the box for? This is our question word right here, who. So we know the answer is going to be one of our characters. So it seems like our characters in this story were Dan and Dad. So, let's see. Let's find a sentence or two that talks about who the box is for. So here's the box. Let's see. Let me read these 2 sentences. The box had a tag. He sees Dan on the tag. So, if here's this box or this present, and the tag says Dan. If the tag says Dan, who do you think it's for? So if the tag says Dan, who would it be for? So go ahead. If you know the answer, you can say it or you can circle it. Remember, Dan is D-A-N. So see if you can find this word Dan somewhere in the text. I'll give you just a minute. So see if you can find the word Dan in the text and circle it. So number 1 says, who is the box for? And remember, we said the tag said Dan on it, so it must be for Dan. And Dan is D-A-N. So let's look. Here's one that says Dan. Here's another one that says Dan. Here's one that says does that say Dan? No, this one says D-A-D. This ending sound is different. So this doesn't say Dan, it says dad. This one ends in D. Dan ends in N. So go ahead and find this word Dan and circle it. Dan is our character. All right. So now we are going to, number 2, we're going to underline what is in the bag. So let's see. Let's look at this picture too. Here's our bag and here's our box. So we want to know what is in this bag. Let's read the first 2 sentences of our story. Dan sat on the mat by a bag. The bag had a box. So what was in the box? Or I'm sorry, what was in the bag? Remember, what was in the bag, that's what we're looking for. The bag had a box. So that's our sentence, and then look at our picture. So here's our bag, and what's in the bag? It's a box. So this is our word box. Let's see if we can find box. Actually, I wrote a capital. It should be a lowercase. Box. So here's this word. Let's underline the word box in the text. See if you can find it. It's in a few different places. All right, so here's the word box. You can underline it here. Box is here. And box is over here. Box. B-O-X. Box. Remember, this X is one of those sounds we don't hear too often. X. So remember, X says X. So the ending sound we know is X, so that's an X. So go ahead and underline one of those boxes in this text. All right. So now number 3 says, what will happen next? So remember, our story was about the box sitting right next to Dan. And Dan, at the end of our story, here's our talking mark. So this is Dan talking. He says, Dad, can I see in it? His dad nods. So remember, I said nods is when you shake your head up and down saying yes. So Dan asked if he could see in it, and his dad nods. So when we read those 2 sentences, what do we think that means? If his dad is nodding when Dan asks if he can see in it, does that mean his dad will not let him open it? His dad will open the box, or he will give the box to his mom? Remember, Dan asked if he could see in it, and Dad nodded. Nodding means shaking your head up and down, saying yes. So if he nodded yes, does that mean Dad will not let him open it? He will open the box, or he will give the box to Mom. So I'm not going to give you that answer. I want you to think about that question on your own and decide. When Dad nods, what does that mean? So choose one of these answers. All right, and then get your grown-up to go ahead and take a picture of this and send it to me. I will send you the link. You can send it to me on my email or on Class Dojo, but please send me what you're doing so I know how you did on this. All right, thank you, boys and girls.